My first HMO deal was days away from collapse. Then, one unexpected LinkedIn message from a stranger who I barely knew saved everything. Today, that same HMO generates £58,000 gross in rent every single year. In this video, I'm going to take you behind the scenes of that first HMO deal and share 3 lessons that could make or break your next HMO deal. Hi, I'm Adam. I trained as a surgeon in the NHS, but these days I'm creating high-end co-living HMOs for young professionals. All of this whilst working full-time as a doctor. It was the 1st of December 2023, and I had my first offer accepted on a 3-bed house for the value of £240,000. And on paper it was perfect. It really was the ideal property to convert into a 6-bed, all-ensuite, young professional HMO. And finance was set up, so my broker had recommended Octane Capital, who is a specialist lender who are willing to give first-time HMO investors a good shot. And I truly was buzzing. This wasn't just any purchase, this was going to be my first HMO buy, refurbish, refinance, rent deal. And the numbers? Well, they stacked beautifully. So local surveyors and local investors indicated that the end value of this project, once it's been converted into a 6-bed HMO, should be at least £500,000. And this would be based on a commercial valuation that is a multiplier of the gross rent per annum. And the plan was quite simple: secure bridging finance to help me purchase the project, and also development finance that would fund the entirety of the refurb project, so I could turn this shell into a cash flowing 6-bed HMO. So what could possibly go wrong? But a few days later, it all came tumbling down. My broker called up and he informed me that Octane Capital had backed out of the deal. And why was this? Well, it turns out just weeks earlier, another investor had applied to Octane Capital for the same property and the same type of project. But on that occasion, the pre-valuation came in at £350,000. This was a whole £150,000 less than what we needed. And this made no sense to me because my expected end value of £500,000 was based on solid local comparables. And our broker's prognosis was really quite blunt. We could try the same thing, different lenders, but we might get the same outcome. And every application would cost hundreds of pounds in the application fee and also thousands in getting that valuation done. So there was a lot to lose and no guarantee of success. And the clock truly was ticking. The sellers were insistent on a quick sale by the end of January. So my first HMO deal was slipping away before it had even begun. And at this stage I nearly walked away, but I didn't. I persevered because I knew that I'd been educated and that my fundamentals were sound. And all I needed was simple. I needed a lender who would allow me to use a valuer who understood the local market. And then came Christmas. Some mince pies were consumed, pigs in blankets vanished, and I truly was staring at a dead deal. But I was in no mood for giving up at this stage. And by chance, the estate agent had shared with me the floor plans from the previous buyer, and the previous buyer's name was on the plans. So I searched LinkedIn and I struck gold. I found them on LinkedIn. So I reached out and I said, "Hi, Happy New Year. I'm buying a property with a bridging loan and I understand you previously had issues with Octane. Would you mind sharing your experience?" And lo and behold, 1 minute later he replied and said, "Absolutely, let's jump on a call and discuss today." That phone call alone truly resuscitated this deal. And the very kind person shared the valuation report that they had received from Octane, the one that had come in low at £350,000. So I shared this report with my broker and other brokers, but generally I just got vague answers. There's no guarantee of a different outcome if we try again. But then one broker was different. She said, "Actually, from reading this report, it seems to me that the valuer didn't know the local area and they didn't have the correct comparables. I think we have a chance." Finally, I thought, we have a path forward, a different lender, a valuer who definitely knows the area, and potentially this deal can be saved. This time we applied to Octopus Bank and we secured a valuer who knew the area. On the day the valuer visited the property, I made sure to meet him there so I could build a good rapport. And I walked him through the key aspects of our planned development. So we were building a 6-bed, all-ensuite, designer HMO that was designed for tenant comfort and also to maximize rental income. I answered all the questions he had, and I really emphasized that this was a carefully designed, precise investment. And then came the holiday magic. So the following week I was on a beach in Barbados, drink in hand, and then my phone buzzed. My broker had messaged. They said, "Valuation's back, and it's back big, 520,000. I literally dropped my drink. The GDV was higher than we expected. the deal was well and truly back on. But there was one major challenge that did remain: time. The estate agents were being very pushy, and they were saying that the sellers would back out if a deal did not complete by the end of January. And we went on to miss that January deadline, but I did communicate regularly, sensitively and reassuringly to the estate agents, showing them that we meant business. I showed them our bridging offer and that we were working hard to get it over the line as soon as possible. Fortunately, however, the sellers did stick with me. The house was purchased in May 2024, 5 months after we had our offer accepted. And that one LinkedIn message, well, it didn't just save the deal, it changed the whole trajectory of my property business. And here are the 3 big lessons I learned from this experience. So number 1, valuations can really make or break your deal. Key thing is to ensure you're using a valuer who knows the local area. Something I did was that I called various valuers who were on the panels for the bridging lenders I was using and just gave them a call, asked if I could get their perspective on how they would value properties in the area, and some were much more generous than others, and it gave us a good indication of where we should go. And number 2, well, it's time for a property cliche, I'm afraid. Your network truly is your net worth. From estate agents to brokers, even to complete strangers on LinkedIn, property is a people's business. Building rapport and strategic relationships can really turn dead deals into wins. And finally, being resourceful can trump experience. It's not just what you know, it's do you have the perseverance, do you have the grit, do you have the desire to make it work? So my story had a happy ending. That first HMO is now fully tenanted. It's a 6-bed co-living designer HMO and it generates £58,000 gross per annum. And the good news, the end value actually turned out to be £540,000, so £20,000 higher than the pre-valuation. And in my next video, I'm going to do a full autopsy, a full dissection of my first HMO project. What worked, what's hurt, and what I'll do differently. Make sure you like and subscribe so you don't miss it. I'll be sharing all the numbers. See you there.